Hello, what's going on, everybody? I'm going to do something a little different today, and this is something I've wanted to do for a while, and that is go over Roman Reigns in 2015. And why am I doing this? Well, I personally never got into the hate for Roman Reigns around that time. Never did, never have, and a lot of people point out a lot of reasons why they hated him in 2015, or I've heard a lot of reasons why he got so hated. Uh, some people said it was because of what Punk said in that podcast he did with Colt Cabana, which really wasn't much, honestly, because I listened to it and he didn't really say anything all that. And then they said it was because Daniel Bryan didn't get into the main event of WrestleMania again, but they booed him long after that would have even mattered. So I don't think that's it. Like honestly, I don't really know what the deal was, and honestly, I don't care. That's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is how Roman Reigns did in 2015, the year he was crowned the guy. So, without further ado, let's let's do this. Oh, you just shared the screen. There we go. Um, so Roman Reigns was in the Royal Rumble match. And I'm not gonna judge this against Roman Reigns because he wasn't the only guy in it, and he was like number 19, so he wasn't even in it for half the time. But I was not really a big fan of this Rumble match, honestly. I don't know. It was kind of meh, honestly. Wasn't a big fan of the Rumble, especially. I don't even remember who honestly I was voting for to win this thing, but I was not a big fan, to be perfectly honest. Uh a Roman Reigns uh did he did win and everyone hated him for it. Canceled WWE Network hashtag. Wow. That's sad, honestly, because I doubt any of those people actually did. But if they did, whatever, it's not, I don't really. All right, let's get on to Fastlane. So Fastlane, this was the first WWE Fastlane, by the way, and let me tell you something, folks. This pay-per-view sucked. This was not a good introduction to Fastlane as an event. I think there were two good matches on the show. One of them was the tag match right there. Cesaro Tyson Kidd defeating the Usos. I love Tyson Kidd, and I was glad he was getting a push. Uh, and then you had Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. I don't remember how Bryan. Let me see. I don't remember how Bryan got the shot in the first place. Let me see. Maybe it says something here. Um, okay, it says Daniel Bryan defeated Seth Rollins on the February 2nd episode. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh yeah. So okay, he was manipulated by the Authority. So, which I mean, I guess the Authority kind of made fun of him. He wanted to prove himself. Okay, fair enough. It's a machismo thing. That's fair. I liked this match. I think it was a great main event for a terrible show. Some people will say this like, oh, it was Daniel Bryan's that. I mean, Daniel Bryan. Why did I say Daniel Bryan? It's Daniel Bryan that carried him, which isn't impossible because Daniel Bryan is fantastic. But I don't think it was all Daniel Bryan. Like, I think Roman Reigns had some part in it. And he was able to hold his own against a main eventer like Daniel Bryan. So, I mean, that's a good sign of things to come for him. So, good match for his like first really big singles match ahead of this push. WrestleMania 31. This was such an overrated show. Not that it was a bad show. It wasn't bad at all. Uh, but It was definitely not great. That Triple H and Sting match was one of the most overrated things ever. Maybe I'll get to that later, and maybe I'll get to Fastlane later too. Let me know in the comments below if you'd want me to do that, honestly. But the main event was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. I didn't like the match, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of matches that are just kind of like big spot, big spot, big spot, big spot, big finisher, big finisher, big finisher, all that. I don't like those types of matches. I didn't like it with Goldberg and Lesnar, like at WrestleMania 33. Yeah, it was 33. And I didn't like it with this one. So a lot of people like this match. I honestly did not. Seth Rollins cashing in was very cool. He was always my favorite member of the Shield. So yeah, that was cool, but other than that, I just meh. So with that out of the way, let's get to Extreme Rules. I always like the Extreme Rules shows. They're usually always fun. The last man standing match with Roman Reigns and the Big Show was honestly match of the night. No contest. And this was surprising considering this was 2015 Big Show. And not like at his prime Big Show, but he was able to put on a great performance with Roman Reigns here. A match that really lived up to the Extreme Rules billing. I love this match, and I always bring it up to people when they say like, "Oh man, Roman had to be carried for all his matches." Like, oh, this showed he clearly didn't need to be carried to a lot of his matches. The King. I almost forgot they actually did this. King of the Ring on the WWE Network. All right. You know, what if Neville won this thing, honestly? I was actually rooting for him to win this whole thing. Not that Bad News Barrett was a bad champion, but, you know. Payback. I don't remember how I feel about this show, honestly. Oh, here it is. Seth Rollins defeating Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns in a fatal four for his WWE Championship. I like this match a lot. I didn't get the random Shield reunion in the middle of it, but it was still a great, entertaining match and an entertaining main event to close out the show. So, no complaints there. I'm happy about that. Did he do anything in the Elimination Chamber? Huh, he didn't. Okay, Roman Reigns was not at the Chamber event. So, sorry about that. So, on to the next show, Money in the Bank. Roman Reigns was in the titular Money in the Bank match. And, you know, Money in the Bank matches, they're always entertaining, so most of the time. So there's no doubt that it was entertaining. And this was the start of his feud with Bray Wyatt because Roman Reigns was about to win the briefcase, but Bray Wyatt came in and just shoved him off the ladder, allowing Sheamus to pick up the win, who was a pointless winner of the Money in the Bank. I mean, you could have gone with Neville. I mean, he's the newest guy in this match, and he's great. But what do I know? I'm not a wrestling booker. I am just a fan. Okay, let's see if he was at Beast of the East. I completely forget about some of these shows. Jesus Christ. The Lucha Dragons. They were a fun team. I liked them. Nope, he was not there. So let's move on. Battleground. God, this pay-per-view always had like the worst luck with match quality most of the time. The 2016 event was actually really good, but not this one. No, actually, this one doesn't look too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, so the Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns. Did it go on too long? Maybe a little bit, but it was still a good match. And Bray Wyatt was able to pick up the victory over Roman Reigns after Luke Harper interfered. And I think this was Harper's return, I want to say. I think he was off TV for a little bit, but I can't remember honestly. It's been a while since I looked back at 2015, the 2015 product. But yeah, I think Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns always had good chemistry together. Like Bray's not the greatest wrestler of all time, but he and Roman really did have some great fights with each other. So another good match for Roman under his belt around this time. SummerSlam 2015. Controversial show. But we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here to talk about Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the Wyatt family. It was a good tag team match. Not great, but still good. And Roman Reigns is able to get a measure of revenge against Bray Wyatt by pinning him in this tag team match. So they're taking a break from Roman Reigns in the main event for a bit, letting other people do it while they kind of build him up more, which, I didn't personally care, but I think a lot of other people did. So let's go. Night of Champions. The Sting's last match. Oh, man. So in this place, the Wyatt family, this was just when Braun Strowman debuted at this point. I remember people hated him, or not hated him, but they just weren't impressed because he was slow and sluggish, and nobody cared. At that time, I don't think anyone really cared. He was big. Like, I remember the first time I saw him, like, I think it was after SummerSlam. And me and my brother, one of my brothers, I think we were watching it. He was like, "Oh, holy shit, who is this guy? He's freaking huge." And we actually kind of thought it was I think we thought it was Bray Wyatt for a second, but then we're like, "Oh, wait, no, that's not Bray Wyatt. That's way too big to be him." I don't know why we thought that was Bray Wyatt, but there you go. So this match, not as interesting as the SummerSlam one, mainly because of Braun Strowman, I believe, because this was like he was kind of slow and sluggish. But, it wasn't horrible, and Braun Strowman did win the match for the team by knocking out, I think it was Jericho. Okay, it's been a while since I'm sorry, it's been a while since I watched this. Yep, the lifting arm triangle choke, which I'm shocked he doesn't do anymore because I actually thought that kind of looked cool. Oh, and here's something I actually forgot happened, apparently. Before Ambrose and Reigns revealed Chris Jericho as their mystery partner, according to Wikipedia, a fan managed to jump the barricade and enter the ring without getting caught by security. That would have been, and I think I did see a video where the Wyatt family was like, "Oh, is this your partner? Is this him?" It's like, that's great. I love that. I love when wrestlers are able to, like, keep their composure and just play along with everything. That's a sign of a professional right there, folks. For a lot of people what the fuck am I saying? For somebody who people claim was pushed down everyone's throat, I'm not seeing him in these, like, network exclusive shows. Like, he's never on it, or at least he's not in a match on it. Like, he wasn't at the Elimination Chamber show, he wasn't at Beast of the East, and he wasn't on this one. And this is from Madison Square Garden. Like, this is WWE's big arena. So you'd think they'd want to put him on there if they were, like, pushing him so hard, but he's not. He doesn't have a match here. Main event was Cena versus Rollins. Brock Lesnar versus Big Show for some reason. Kevin Owens defending the IC title against Jericho and all this other stuff that's on here. 20,000 people attended. Not bad. Not bad at all. Hell in a Cell. This is the place where Del Rio made his surprise return to WWE. Charlotte had a great match with Nikki Bella, surprisingly. Roman Reigns' Hell in a Cell match with Bray Wyatt, which I consider one of the best modern era Hell in a Cell matches of all time, I think. These guys just tore the house down. They really delivered on their last big feud match for their feud. It was a really nice, hardcore, fun match. Reigns got the clean victory, but Bray looked awesome in defeat, I thought. So that's another big match and a great match for Roman Reigns under his belt. The infamous 2015 Survivor Series. Reigns was involved in, I think, a couple matches on the show. Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio, which I think was the best match on the card. One of them, because it went over 10 minutes long. It was like one of the few. Actually, no, now that I'm looking at it, yeah, no, this was a good match, and it was better than his match with Dean Ambrose, because his match with Ambrose was really surprisingly short. I get they just competed, but this is for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You'd think they'd probably make that a bit longer, but for what it wasn't terrible. It was still a good match. I mean, these two have chemistry together, and Alberto Del Rio, he may be a piece of shit, but he was a good wrestler, and he and Reigns had a really good match. But this was also the pay-per-view where Sheamus cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, and became the WWE champion. Yeah, so that happened. Up and down night for Roman Reigns overall. Up and down. And the last pay-per-view for Roman Reigns in 2015 was TLC, where he was in the main event in a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, where he lost to Sheamus. I think it was because of interference by the League of Nations. And then Sheamus just beat the shit out of everybody, and including Triple H, which, Jesus Christ, that was actually pretty awesome looking at. And I think a lot of people that were actually cheering him after that, I remember. And I think he was just starting to get over, then all of a sudden people changed their mind and just bleh. So, fuck. It's just so weird. It's I don't know, why people suddenly cheered this, and it's whatever, but it was a good match, Sheamus is great. I like Sheamus, and Roman Reigns I think he got a lot better at wrestling, as this year went on. I think working with a lot of these guys, like Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, it helped him elevate his moveset and, get a bit more exciting in the ring, because I don't think his matches were that good, when he was starting his singles push in 2014. So I think 2015 was a step up in that department. But so what would happen to Roman Reigns after TLC? Well, he'd win the title on the Raw next, so I kind of felt that that was pointless, but I digress. And then Roman Reigns would lose the championship in the Royal Rumble match, which was actually really awesome, to not AJ Styles. He debuted in the Rumble, but Triple H was the one that won the championship. And then Roman Reigns would win it back in a very not good main event. And he'd have great matches with AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, and then he'd eventually come back and get over after his battle with cancer, which, goddamn, he's tougher than a lot of people if he was able to come back and after fighting that. And now he's gone again because of the COVID situation. And since he was a leukemia survivor, he's got like a weakened immune system and all that stuff. So the original Goldberg versus Roman Reigns match had to be scrapped, and we got Braun Strowman instead. Whoopee. So I hope you enjoyed this little thing. Tell me what you thought about Roman Reigns 2015 in the comment section, or if you want me to do this for like any other superstar. Like I can go through 1 year of matches on pay-per-view or whatever, just to like show how they were, the quality, what I thought of their matches. Just let me know if you want that. And until then, I will see you next time.